Hi, how are we all doing today? I hope you are having a fantastic week. My name is Catherine and I am a business English teacher. I work with intermediate to advanced level students, and today I have 15 advanced words that you can add to your vocabulary to not only improve your workplace conversation, but to also improve the professionalism of your emails, make you sound more confident, more fluent, more advanced, and ultimately give you a wider vocabulary when presenting or demonstrating something in English. If you are not new here, you will already know that my channel helps you to improve your business English, your professional vocabulary, and your all-round confidence when working in English. I appreciate every single comment and feedback I get on these videos, so without taking too much more of your time, go ahead and click like, subscribe if you have not already, and let's get straight into today's vocabulary. Delegate, delegate. Now, if you have a team of people that you are responsible for, that you lead or take care of, a fantastic word for you to add to your vocabulary is delegate. Now, delegate means to divide tasks amongst a team. So typically this is done by a team leader or manager or someone with higher authority than the team itself. So you wouldn't really use this to talk about colleagues on the same level as you or your workmates. You'd be more likely to say in that situation, how will we split these tasks between us? How should we divide these projects? But if you want to demonstrate that you are giving out tasks to your team, a group of people that you are responsible for, you can use the term delegate. There is a sense of authority here. Some examples for you. In order to manage the workload more efficiently, I will delegate some of these tasks to other team members, meaning to give out those tasks to other team members. We believe if we are able to delegate the tasks accurately during this week, the project will be completed by the deadline. So if we can split these tasks, give them out to the right people who have the right skills, then we will achieve the deadline we are hoping for. Taxing. Now, of course, tax refers to the amount of money you must pay the government every month, every year. When you make money, spend money, inherit money, buy something, breathe air, you must pay tax to the government. You can figure out your taxes at the end of each year, but when we use taxing as an adjective, something is taxing. The week has been taxing. What we are saying is that the activity that we are talking about, that we are referring to, is very draining or demanding. And I personally believe this is because doing your taxes is draining, demanding, boring. So the phrase taxing has been created. I'm not sure if that's its genuine origin, but it makes sense to me. So describing something as taxing means it took a lot of time, it wasn't something you necessarily enjoyed, and it was very demanding. You had to think a lot about it. You had to use a lot of resources to complete it. My week hasn't been too taxing. I had some difficult clients, but nothing I couldn't handle. Now, in this example, we're saying the week wasn't too demanding, wasn't too difficult. You were able to achieve everything you needed in that week. We have assessed the next quarter, and we feel it will be too taxing financially to take on any new employees at this current moment. So all the work and tasks that we have need to be delegated between the current team, between the existing team. So here we are saying financially it will be difficult, it will be demanding, it will be something that takes a lot from us if we do this. So here is an alternative solution. This is what we need to do instead. Taxing. Taxing. It's a synonym for difficult, tiring, boring, demanding. If you wanted to be really pleasant and polite and kind in your email, if you're working with someone on a project and you know you're at a really difficult point in the project, you might say in an email, I hope this part of the project hasn't been too taxing for you, or I hope this task hasn't been too taxing. Let me know if you need any help. Paramount. Paramount. Paramount sounds a bit like power, and that's a good way for you to be able to remember it. Paramount means the ultimate, supreme, having a lot of importance or power. Look at this example. Customer satisfaction is paramount to the success of our business, meaning the most important thing, the most powerful thing for our business is customer satisfaction. If we do not have that customer satisfaction, we cannot succeed as a business. I understand that it is a public holiday, but it is paramount that we have the information requested before Monday morning, as we need to go into that meeting prepared and with evidence to show. Now here, what I'm saying is I understand you're not actually working today, but it is the most important thing for our success that we have that information for Monday. So could you please take time out of your day off to complete whatever this is, to give me whatever this information is. Now, of course, this would be frustrating to receive as an employee, but the use of Paramount suggests it is, I wouldn't be asking if it wasn't important, if it wasn't vital for our success. If it could wait until Monday, I wouldn't be asking now. So when you want to say something is important or it's needed or you can't continue without it, you can use Paramount. Eligible. Now, eligible is kind of a synonym for available, but also not really, because available means you have access to. Something is available to you. You have access to it. YouTube is available to everyone. ChatGPT is available to everyone. Whereas eligible means you have met a certain criteria in order to have access to something. You've met the requirements in order to be able to use that thing. So for example, YouTube, as I said, is available to all for free, but only those who pay for a premium plan on YouTube are eligible to watch videos without adverts, meaning they met the criteria. So they're paying, that is the criteria. They pay for premium and therefore can watch without adverts. You have the ability to apply for any job, but you are only eligible for the jobs where you actually meet the criteria, where you actually have the requirements that they need. For example, I have the availability to apply for any job, engineering, doctor, marketing, but the only jobs I would be eligible for are jobs in marketing and advertising because that is my background. That is what I studied. That's my education. So availability is having access to, and eligible is having access to, but only because you've met certain requirements. So when you use the word eligible, you want to express that someone does or does not meet these specific requirements. If you work in customer service, you will probably use this a lot. Only our highest value clients are eligible to attend the end of year celebration. So only if you have spent a lot of money with us are you able to attend this celebration. The sales team met their individual and team targets, so they will be eligible for the bonus scheme and potentially promotion at the end of this month. Meaning because they met those targets, those requirements, those sales figures, they are now able to access the bonus scheme. You can use this in a negative by saying you are not eligible for something because you haven't met these requirements. There are these things you need to do and you haven't done them. Vice. Now, this has two meanings, and I'm sure you know the first meaning, vice president, vice captain, which of course is the person second in charge. So not the president, not the captain, but if the president or the captain is sick, the vice president, vice captain can step up and make decisions, has the responsibility to make those decisions, has the eligibility to make those decisions. But we have another meaning for vice, which is weakness or moral fault or bad habit. And it can be used as a synonym for any of these that I've just given you: a bad habit, a fault, a weakness. My only vice is eating too much sugar, meaning my only weakness, my bad habit, is eating too much sugar. So in a professional environment, you may say something like, my colleague's constant procrastination when it comes to meeting deadlines has become a real vice that affects the efficiency of our team, meaning a bad habit or a weakness in character. My colleague's procrastination is their vice, is their bad habit, is a weakness in their character. Coffee is my vice. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad habit because I think most people on the planet drink coffee, but we also know caffeine is bad for us. So we could argue it's a vice, it's a bad habit. When asked a question in an interview, what are your weaknesses or do you have any weaknesses? You can respond with, an area that I'm working on is my time management skills. I am trying to improve my ability to meet deadlines, as I know finishing on time is a current vice of mine, meaning a current weakness, a current bad habit of mine. In general, as a team, we work very well together. Our only vice is no one is contactable after 5 p.m. So clients and customers have to wait until after 5 p.m. A more professional way of saying bad habit. Contention. Contention means a disagreement resulting from opposing opinions. So it could be a synonym for argument, tension, disagreement. But it is a bit more professional than saying the team had an argument, the team had a disagreement, there is tension in the workplace. The understanding is that there were 2 or more differing opinions surrounding this topic. The vice president expressed his contention regarding the proposed budget for the upcoming year. So the vice president had some differing opinions to everybody else in regards to the proposed budget, in regards to what they were suggesting for the next year. It's not saying he was angry or upset or he acted unprofessionally. It just suggests his opinion was different to somebody else's, and therefore there is no clear solution. There is no clear way forward. There's a lot of contention about this issue. For every person firmly in favor, there's someone fiercely against it. Now, this is just a very nice creative way of saying the issue that we're discussing, whatever it may be, a lot of people were for, but a lot of people were against, and therefore we couldn't come to a final decision. We are still deciding, we are still trying to figure out what to do because people could not agree. You might say something like, there is some contention in the team regarding how we move forward. So we need to discuss with the project lead in order to find a solution. It doesn't sound unprofessional. It doesn't sound like you're arguing. It doesn't sound like people are causing issues. It just sounds like some disagreements. We couldn't agree on a way to move forward, so we need more time. Contribution. Contribution. We can use this word, contribution, when we are discussing the amount of effort someone has put into something. But there are a couple of ways we can use this. Thank you for your contribution. You are saying thank you for the effort and time you have put into this. I appreciate your contribution on this task. I appreciate the time and effort and resources you have used within this task. We recognize your contribution to the team. We recognize the time and effort and resources you have brought to the team. But if we use it in a slightly different way, is anyone willing to contribute? Or does anyone have any contributions? What we are saying is, does anyone have any ideas, time, solutions, energy? Can you add something to the situation? Can you think of a solution in order to help out here? So in general, contribution means to give up time, energy, ideas to support the team, to support your colleagues, support the goal. We greatly appreciate your contribution to the charity event. We have a tight deadline of next Thursday, so I'm going to need everybody to contribute in order to get this finished. Can you notice the difference here? One is thanking you for your time and energy, and one is requesting your time and energy. Deliberation. Deliberation. So long and careful or thought out discussions. It's kind of a synonym for negotiate, except negotiate just suggests 2 sides are in a discussion. A deliberation can be one side, one person, one group, or more than one. So you can't negotiate on your own, because who are you negotiating with? Yourself? That doesn't make sense. But you can deliberate by yourself, because what it suggests is you are thinking for a long time about something. You're carefully assessing, carefully thinking through each idea, weighing up all options, considering the pros and cons, and coming to a final answer or solution. After much deliberation, she decided to accept their offer. meaning she thought a long time about it. Maybe she wasn't quite sure if she wanted to accept or not. But after thinking through the pros and cons, she said, yes, I want to accept this offer. After 5 days of deliberations, the company decided to hire the candidate with the most experience, but who was requesting to work remotely. So the understanding here is the company didn't want to hire a remote worker, but if they wanted the person with the most experience, that person, that candidate, was only willing to work for the company if it was a remote position. So the company had to deliberate, they had to think about this, they had to look at the pros and cons. Did they want to offer remote working if it meant this person had a lot of experience? Objection. Objection. Now, to object or to have an objection, if you've ever seen an American rom-com where two people are getting married and someone else in the audience or family says, I object, or even the person marrying them will say, does anyone have any objections? Or another alternative, if you like to watch crime shows, crime movies, the people arguing the case in front of the judge will always say, objection, objection. This is because objection means to disagree, the act of feeling the opposite way. So you can use it as a synonym to I disagree. I think the opposite. I don't agree. If you're in a business meeting and people are discussing a strategy that you either don't agree with or don't see going forwards the way they do, you can say, actually, I object. I believe this is the solution. Or alternatively, somebody might say, this is my plan. This is what I'm proposing. Does anyone have any objections? Meaning, does anyone disagree? And if you are asked this question, do you have any objections, or does anyone have any objections? You can either just answer, yes, I do, and go into your objection, go into why you disagree, or no, all good, all clear, makes sense to me, I agree with you. Morale. Morale. Now, this is pronounced slightly differently to moral, and they do have different meanings. Morale refers to the confidence, the feeling, the collected emotion, the motivation of a group of people at a particular time. So instead of saying the team is feeling motivated or the team is not enjoying working on this project, you could say morale is high at this moment, or morale is poor currently. Everyone is feeling a bit disheartened after the negative feedback from the project lead. It's the overall feeling, the overall emotion, opinion of a group of people. The CEO implemented a new employee benefit program to boost morale within the company and improve overall productivity. So in this example, the CEO has noticed that employees are feeling kind of low energy, they're not motivated, they're not really working well together. So he or she implements a new benefit program in order to improve this feeling, make people feel more motivated, more energized, like they want to come to work. After a series of layoffs, the company held a team building workshop. Actually, I just want to pause here. I don't think I've used the term layoffs before. Layoffs is just another way of saying redundancies. So a lot of people losing their jobs at the same time. After a series of layoffs, the company held a team building workshop to help boost morale and rebuild trust amongst colleagues. So when people are laid off, when they are made redundant, when they lose their job, people feel very negative. You know, is my job next? Am I going to lose my job? My best friend that I've worked with for 4 years, she doesn't work here anymore. I feel low motivation. I don't want to continue working. But introducing these team building events can rebuild this trust amongst colleagues, create new bonds, make people feel more motivated and energized, and create new friendships at work. So as you can see from both of these examples, morale is something you create, you can work on, you can improve. You can also decrease morale, but it's not a fixed or set feeling. It's something that can be changed. Suppress. To be suppressed or to suppress something is to prevent the development, the emotion, the action from being expressed or realized. So for example, to suppress a feeling or emotion is to ignore it, to not allow it to come across. It's kind of the opposite of express. You express a feeling, you show it. Suppress is to not show. You don't want to show that feeling or emotion. I had to suppress my frustration when my colleague kept interrupting me during the meeting. Meaning I had to hold back. I didn't want to show that frustration, as it would be unprofessional for me to show that emotion or get angry with that colleague. Of course, if you are being interrupted all the time at work, you should bring that up with the colleague later. But in a meeting situation, it's not professional to raise that there and then. It can also be used to mean holding back information or keeping certain information quiet, like these following examples. The company tried to suppress negative reviews by offering discounts to dissatisfied customers. The HR department decided to suppress salary information in order to prevent employee complaints about pay disparities. Disparities just means differences or disagreements. But in both of these examples, the company or the department within the company are trying to decrease the amount of people feeling this way, the amount of emotions coming across. So they're not trying to stop, they're not trying to silence people, but they're just trying to reduce the amount of feelings coming out. Suppress sounds much more formal than I tried to not get angry, or we tried to stop the reviews getting out, or we don't want people to read negative reviews about us. We need to suppress these reviews sounds much more formal, advanced, although in theory it means exactly the same thing. Dismiss. We have a couple of meanings for the word dismiss. First is a method of removing somebody from a company or a position, typically because of unsatisfactory behavior or performance. So if you were to say I was dismissed from my job because I kept calling in sick, I would understand that you were fired, you were asked to leave your position because of your actions. The manager dismissed the employee because of all the free samples they kept taking home with them. Again, I understand this person did something they were not supposed to. They took home too many free samples and they were asked to leave their job. But I'm not giving you this word so that you can talk about how you left your job, because of course I want to create new opportunities for you and encourage you to go for new jobs, new positions, new opportunities, new goals. So the way I want you to use the word dismiss is when we want to say something is not a good idea or not a good suggestion. You can dismiss something because it is not a good idea, not a good suggestion. So instead of saying, I don't like that idea, I don't want to go with that idea, you can say, we will dismiss that idea because, or the company dismissed my ideas because, and the reasons they gave you. The company decided to dismiss the idea of expanding into international markets due to financial constraints. So due to financial reasons, they didn't have enough money. They couldn't expand into international markets. So they dismissed the idea, meaning they chose not to go with that idea because they didn't have enough money. Maybe they had that idea in their plan, but when they looked at the pros and cons, they decided we can't afford this right now, so let's dismiss that. Let's not do that. You could use it yourself by saying something such as, our team came up with 3 potential solutions, but we dismissed the first 2 when we saw the budget, leaving us with 1 final solution. Meaning we came up with 3, but looking at all of the options we came up with, only 1 was possible with our budget, with the budget we were given. I just thought of a new word whilst I was explaining that word to you, so I'm going to write that down really quickly before I forget, and that will go into my next advanced vocabulary video. So dismiss. Use it instead of chose not to, or didn't go with, or didn't want to. We dismissed this idea. Now be careful, because if you say to someone, I'm going to dismiss your idea because, it can come across as rude. But if you talk about the idea itself, so I'm going to dismiss that idea because, I don't think we can use that idea, so I'm going to dismiss it. But if you tell someone you dismiss their idea, it might come across as a personal attack. So try to only dismiss the idea itself and not the person and their idea. Affirm. Affirm. Affirm can take many forms. Affirmed, past tense, affirmative, to confirm something, affirmation, the noun, and to affirm, the verb. To affirm means to support or confirm an opinion or idea, or agree to a plan or strategy. Despite the challenges he faced, he continued to affirm his commitment to achieving his goals. Meaning, even though he was facing challenges, he confirmed, he proved his commitment by constantly working hard or achieving smaller targets and goals throughout the week or month. So he confirmed the commitment to himself. He affirmed that commitment. The CEO affirmed the company's dedication to sustainability during his keynote speech. The CEO continued to prove the company's dedication or support the company's dedication, agree with the company's presentation. It's another way of saying this action, this thing you are saying, agrees with something we already know, we already achieve. Minimize, minimize. Notice that Americans will spell this with a Z and British English will spell this with an S, but there's no difference and you're not wrong or right either way. Minimize. I think you recognize the meaning of minimize. It means to decrease something, to make it smaller. If you remember old school computers, which I'm sure most of you do, because I think most of you are a similar age to myself, we used to talk about minimizing the page, making it smaller so we could focus on or open something else. We often hear the phrase minimize the effects, minimize the impacts. And what we are saying here is reducing, making the effects or impacts smaller or less harmful, less painful, less financially impactful. The company implemented cost-cutting measures to minimize expenses during the economic downturn. Minimize expenses. So they introduced something to reduce the amount of expenses, the amount of money spent. Our goal is to minimize our carbon footprint by investing in sustainable practices and technology. Our goal is to reduce our carbon footprint by blah, 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 doing all of these things. It is important for businesses to minimize errors and strive for accuracy in their financial reporting. It is important for businesses to reduce the amount of errors, and I don't need to tell you why, because if you work for a business, you know every time you make a mistake, every time you make an error, it has a huge impact on the way the customer sees you. So to minimize, to reduce. We want to reduce, we want to minimize. And our final one today is to redeem. Redeem typically means to make up for past behaviors, to compensate for. So let's say you have done something wrong in the past and you are trying to redeem yourself. You're trying to make up for what you did in the past by doing the opposite or improving your behavior. Maybe you were always late to work last year. So this year you are trying to redeem yourself by showing up 15 minutes early every day. Or maybe you have a bad relationship with your boss, your manager, a colleague, a client. You are trying to redeem this situation by increasing your workload, the quality of your work, the communication between the two of you. You're trying to improve on past behaviors. It can also be used to talk about receiving something in return for money. So for example, a coupon, a voucher, a gift card means you are using or spending that money or gift card. So if you work in customer service, you might say you can redeem your voucher, you can redeem your coupon, you can redeem your gift card. But in a business sense, here are some more examples. The executives sought to redeem themselves by implementing a comprehensive training program to improve their leadership skills. So the executive clearly didn't show very good leadership skills, and they want to make up for this by improving the training for team leaders, project leads, managers. After acknowledging their past mistakes, the manager committed to redeeming their reputation by consistently delivering exceptional results, So something happened in the past, they made a mistake, and they want to make up for this by always doing their best, always creating high quality work. So if you work in customer service, you can use the word redeem with customers when you are referring to a coupon, a voucher, a gift card. But if you are talking about your team, your management, or your own personal behavior, you use it as a way to suggest you are improving on past failures or behaviors. Now, before you minimize or dismiss this page, don't forget to like this video. In fact, it's paramount that you like this video before leaving. No, I'm only joking. I don't want to form any sort of contention between myself and my viewers. I hope you enjoyed this list of business English vocabulary and can start to introduce some of it into your workplace English. Let me know down below your thoughts. What was new for you? What wasn't new for you? What did you know already? And I will see you next time. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.